Golden Debate Show. Tone and Crippy coming live from the Golden Temple. Tone, got anything clever? Anything you want to get off your chest?
Yes, sir.
What's that?
Two-time defending NBA champions of the world.
Gee.
We're golden.
You want anything else to say and add to that?
Glad I got days off coming up these next two, because I was putting it in.
All right, OT time and whatnot. Golden Debate Show, earlymorningmob.com. Like, comment, share, and download.
Now we punching in for this job.
You gotta put your headphones on for this job. I know you have headphones all day talking to computers.
Mighty bot.
Like, comment, share, and download Golden Debate Show. We have a very interesting show. Let's hunt for the truth. Let's hunt for facts. Let's hunt the media. And let's
hit 'em with it.
Fam. Say shine gold. What's
hit 'em with it.
Gold.
Hit him with it.
Antonius, at some point, I have a little jingle that I made for us, something new. It's pretty cool. I think we're gonna like it. Let's get going.
The golden debate show. Yeah, the golden debate show. Wow, golden debate show.
We'll start it off light and then we'll get it in. Golden Debate, earlymorningmob.com.
Folks, give me the five. That's how we do.
Sippy Cup obsessed.
Yo, this is King Midas, and you're listening to The Golden Show. It's King Midas certified.
Paparazzi
Golden.
patrol to Washington, D.C. in a political-themed paparazzi patrol style website, but was stopped due to what he said were unforeseen circumstances. At a speech at his alma mater,
down there in one of those
University of Chicago
catacombs.
Law School,
There's other guys
he
that
was
looks
asked
like,
about
I don't
his interest in
know.
politics.
This don't make no sense.
and revealed
So the
that
guy at
he
TMZ, you're
planned
familiar with
on
TMZ, right,
executing
Don?
or
He was going to
starting
make a TMZ called Team DDC, where he was going to
but
follow
says he
around
was
these
stopped
politicians and
due to
whatnot.
unforeseen
But
circumstances.
they shut him down. Shut him down. Shut him down. What?
DC.com.
Exactly. They got
It's
shut
actually
down quick.
registered and parked on a Warner
You know
Brothers
these vampires don't fuck
website.
around.
Yeah,
one
it's
of
cool
the
to fuck around
many
with the celebrities.
elitist
That's why they got them
parent companies
celebrities
of
around so that they can
TMZ,
break up with the
this
citizens. But
mainstream
as soon as you fuck
celebrity
with them, it ain't cool.
worshipping website. Again, headed up by the sippy cup obsessed celebrity scum loving.
So I thought that was interesting that the guy was even contemplating the idea. So let's get into it. Golden Debate Show. earlymorningmob.com.
This is King
Real shit out there.
listening to The Golden Show. It's King Midas certified.
I hate this weather.
Cannot be sued for adverse
Ditto.
reactions to the product. The ruling was quickly criticized by medical safety staff and consumer advocates as once again showing whose side the U.S. judicial system is on. Turkey is reportedly seeking stronger ties with Iran after Germany and the European Union voiced their displeasure over the police brutality and governmental handling of regional unrest. The European disapproval has been seen as a halt to Turkey's attempt at becoming a union member, which would provide the country with economic development aid and accelerate Turkey's rate of establishment. A group of farmers or activists in Oregon have taken the law into their own hands and have destroyed over 5,000 genetically modified sugar beet plants. The destruction has drawn the attention of the FBI, who called the crime an act of economic sabotage, but failed to comment on how the U.S. legal system would respond if the GMO plants cross-pollinated with nearby farms. The Israeli army has launched a large-scale domestic warfare drill that focused on cross-border military tactics, as well as the response to more than 3 simultaneous terror attacks as tensions increased near the Golan Heights. A study released this month shows that prenatal exposure to environmental pollutants can cause autism in children, as lobbied officials aim to explain the rise in autism spectrum disorder on anything except the heavy metals found in vaccines. Saudi Arabia has announced new deaths as well as new cases in the Middle Eastern respiratory syndrome. The announcement comes with new asymptomatic cases, raising the possibility that the virus can travel unchecked through borders. The plane that would supposedly take Edward Snowden to Havana, Cuba, landed Monday without the NSA leaker and political fugitive on board. Analysts suggest that the plane was a dry run, as researchers continue to see U.S. military action as a far but true possibility of his capture. Depending on the secrets that Snowden may have gleaned as an NSA contractor, researchers gather that the U.S. Air Force may approach the aircraft carrying Snowden and direct it to the nearest U.S. field. Such actions would immediately reap a strong condemnation from the international community, that depending on the information that Snowden has, the U.S. may be weighing its risk for gain. And to wrap things up, the deadly swine virus PEDD has spread to 200 U.S. farms and maintains a 50% lethality rate in young pigs. Brazil announced a plan to spend over $25 billion on public transportation.
So we're coming to the end of this clip. The next clip is a professor at the University of Texas. He actually sent this clip in to the No Agenda show, Adam Curry.
And that's it for today's News in 2 Minutes.
What's very, very interesting is he's a professor of linguistics and how people speak. So he's kind of like the human lie detector. He can tell if you're lying. Most people go by your eyes or your sweat or whatever. This guy can tell by the words that you use. So
especially when we're trying to understand how language differs from someone telling the truth versus lying. Now, one thing that is common is that when people tell the truth, they tend to use the words like I, me, and my at higher rates than when they're lying, except under one circumstance. And this circumstance is one that was first studied by philosophers, and specifically a guy by the name of John Austin. Austin studied something called performatives. An example of this would be, I want you to know I'm holding a shovel. Now, in reality, this is not a shovel. Nevertheless, what I just said, is it true or not? I want you to know I'm holding a shovel. In a weird kind of way, that's true. Why? Because the first part of that sentence, I want you to know, is true. I do really want you to know I'm holding a shovel. Now, I'm holding a shovel.
We all know that these vampires speak with that special, put it in front of you talk and then sleight of hand magic type talking.
That this is used quite a bit.
See abracadabra.
I've seen it a lot, especially in politicians. I'd like to begin with one of my favorite lies of all times, and one that you may well know from Bill Clinton when he was president.
But I thought he was going to say, I am not a crook.
No, this one.
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
He just got golden down.
Stunning or what? We just heard three powerful performatives right in a row.
Well,
I want to say
he wasn't lying though, so you could believe in that. He did not.
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relationships with that woman.
And it dropped on her dress.
Was technically true. I want to say this again. I didn't have sex with that woman. Well, he did. He was saying it again. He was being completely honest, except for the minor part about the big lie part. But from a pure linguistic and logical, philosophical perspective, he was telling the truth. Let's finish this with a few recent presidents and other people who use performatives without any judgment on whether these people are telling the truth or not.
And I want to say this to the television audience. I made my mistakes. I just want to tell you that when we negotiate, I'm going to, as I say, on my side, I've got $22 billion. And the American people have got to understand this.
So I like to play no agenda clips on the show because they break down things pretty good.
I want everybody to understand.
John and Adam, what up?
This is a jobs issue.
What about that girl?
Go to the base show.
First of all, there's nothing but essentially gavel people yelling and screaming and talking to each other and trying to make their points, and she comes out and does this.
Massachusetts, right?
Madam Speaker, I yield to the gentle lady from Texas, Ms. Jackson, for unanimous consent request.
Okay.
As an American, I stand here to vote.
I mean, what for what time?
I yield for unanimous consent.
The gentle lady is recognized for unanimous consent.
As an American, I stand here united with America voting yes on this bill to save Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. As an American, I ask unanimous consent to put my statement into the record.
Without objection.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to yield 1 minute to the judge.
Hey, show me your passport. Let me make sure.
So she comes out and demands.
Demands, yeah.
And then she leaves.
That's all it was. I just want to be put in the record that I'm for America. I'm American. She's horrible.
She is totally horrible. I mean, people should be ashamed of having her as a congressman.
Then Ron Paul actually was on Anderson Vanderbilt Pooper, and he basically thanked goodness for Ron Paul. By the way, from the great state of Texas, where I am right now. He said it. He said it's all a show and the deal is already done.
Behind you're not supporting it. Is part of your thinking, though, also politics of what happens to the bill in the Senate and what happens after that?
No, I think that's sort of not much of my concern. That's what most of what's going on here is all the politics. I've heard that they've already know what they'll finally come out of this, but they have to go up.
I always say watch this guy and watch anybody in general, but this guy is hilarious.
There you go.
Him and Reverend and be killing him.
Yeah, it's
sure, that makes sense to me.
So who do you think is going to get the best edge? Because we know that this is obviously a show and a big scam, and they're going to raise the debt limit. Who is going to get the edge, and how is it going to play out?
Well, that's the problem, because right now we have two bills that are competing. Neither one of them are acceptable to the other side. And by the way, anyway, the one of us, Harry Reid, supposedly his compromise bill that he dreamed up because he wants his name on it. And then Boehner's got his bill on the other side. And all they do is moan and groan on the Democrat side that Boehner's bill is going to cut Social Security, but they have a couple of short clips. Typical, like the Nancy Pelosi clip. Play that real quick.
Hold on a second. Where is Nancy? It's really funny. The power keeps going on and off. Is it possible that there's like a breaker that does like a half shutdown or something? Have you ever heard of that?
Well, there's some things that'll go off. I mean, there's certain kinds of breakers that'll go off and then come back on their own.
Yeah, isn't that what this is all about, though?
No, you played that. I got three clips I want to play. The second one was a short Bernie Sanders clip.
Okay. John, I don't know if you heard this song. You probably heard it a long time ago. Played this on the Golden Show, last Golden Show.
Because of the air conditioner, my hands are wet again.
Whatever. It's pretty old, but it's pretty cool because it got, talks about that real shit on it.
Yep.
And it's one of my songs, so I like it. Diva, Don Patron, and Kryptonite, Puppet Master.
No question.
Yeah, that's your boy.
Question.
Good about that
Massive cuts.
Pulling on your strings like Geppetto.
Freemason, free Jason. Your body located in the basement. We run shit, we the government. Use the red phone, bring on judgment. The people mean nothing to me, they be my puppets. We say fuck the Constitution, we slaughter. Bomb everybody.
Can I get a Jim Hansen puppet?
Setting up orders.
I mean a Muppet.
That you cause. Puzzle the youth to leave the brains on pause. Helping you build your talk.
They come and download.
Tell you what you want through the mental manslaughter. They give you only so much to feel in tune. Depict your slip laying in your own tomb.
Separate you and family, son and daughter. You complain about laws? Wait until martial law. Americans terrorists should a new war. Cameras posted everywhere, the all-seeing eye. We made a swine flu shot so everyone could die. You outnumber us, so many gotta die. Chemtrails poison your water, the fluoride.
Another victim of this massive deception. One-dimensional, taking away the perception of life and how it could be if we elevate. Once we sever hate and escape from this dark puppet show, we the aura, the presence remains evil and cold. So before and after, the prove you're not the master. Book of life forever lives the musical chapters.
Y'all lost nothing, and ain't booked nothing. Poker in your bluffing, hand in the puppet. Like just fuck it, love it or dump it. The master always causes disaster and plight. The heart flashed you right, you broke looking for the crust. You gotta work hard for that penthouse loft. If the world didn't suck, then we fall right off. 90% dumb, and 5 is soft. The outcome controlled through the vision. Listen to prison, puppeteer with my strings through your ears. Laking up is no fair. World gone a sinking ship. The line son, can't be shit. Spells like Egypt, heads needed. Pet demon needed penicillin for the sick. It hurts when it eats you up alive with it. Take your pride, damn feasting and they thrive. It raise you blind, they use one eye. Damn biometric scan, blood money grams, forfeit, cause it's part of their plan. Run fuck
the best part of the show is coming up, Tom.
Hit him with
it. George Zimmerman's on trial. They finally, they've got a jury. The 6 women are going to be deciding this man's fate, along with the fact that the judge in the matter is a juror, is a woman as well. So this is a female thing. There's no doubt about it. And let's get some things straight so we can track this. This trial is going to run for about a month to 6 to 7 weeks, maybe. He's charged with second-degree murder, not first-degree. And beyond that, I think the Florida statutes and in most other states, if it's not second-degree, if it's not first-degree, and then the murder is a murder, it's a second-degree murder, then the charge after that would be manslaughter, meaning that you kill somebody, but there was no malicious intent. It happened not so much by accident. You could have avoided it had you acted prudently. Manslaughter. So let's define something here as we get ready now to track this case every day. Second-degree murder means, in the Florida statutes and perhaps other statutes as well, that you kill someone with a malicious intent, that you had either a hatred for them or and that you didn't kill them in the commission of a crime, which would have been first-degree murder, but you kill them with malicious intent. There was no crime, there was no robbery, there was no rape, there was no whatever else that people do that you would consider criminal, but there was malicious intent. So the charge of murder gets kicked down from first degree to second degree because you were angry. And to some degree premeditated. And so that's how the murder charge comes in. And that's what George Zimmerman is being charged with. Now, the burden of proof, however, always in any jury trial is that the prosecution has to prove its case. The defense does not have to prove anything.
We have that gold. That Von Burgundy gold.
So,
Reverend Manning, testify.
He does what he has to do.
Yes, sir.
So, as you know,
that ain't God.
Tone's always fighting computers or robots of some sort. He's always fighting video games or some type of electronic equipment.
Yes.
So, and I'm always ducking the Drizones. So, listen to this.
I said Crippy and Tone's gonna fight
the robots and the drones.
Yeah. Yes! There we go.
I said Crippy and Tone's gonna fight
the robots and the drones.
Pete, go to the big show. Well, not Pete.
Go, Dan. Early morning. Mob.
Down there, one of those catapults. There's other guys, what they look like.
I said Crippy and Tone's gonna fight.
The only way you can really get out short of invading that country, which we did, discovered that isn't so hard.
Danger, Will Robinson. O.J. Simpson, or whether it be, John Gordon.
Hello and welcome to the Mental Health Hotline. If you are obsessive compulsive, press 1 repeatedly. If you are codependent, ask someone to press 2 for you. If you have multiple personalities, press 3, 4, 5, and 6. If you are paranoid, we know what you are and what you want. Stay on the line and we'll trace your call. If you're delusional, press 7 and your call will be transferred.
They got to prove that that George Zimmerman had malicious intent, either by way of racism. Obviously, George Zimmerman did not know Trayvon Martin prior to that evening there in Sanford, Florida. They had no way of knowing each other, so therefore there could not have been any previous reasons why Zimmerman would have wanted to kill Trayvon Martin. At least in theory, that's an option, but that could explode wide open that Zimmerman could have seen Martin in some other time. We don't know that, but as it stands right now, though evidence has been presented to demonstrate that Zimmerman knew Martin prior to that fateful night. So let's just assume that he did not. What the prosecution is going to have to do to make this case work, and I think that's the only charge of second-degree murder, is that the prosecution is going to have to prove
of David Gregory
that George Zimmerman acted with
malice. Of course, Glenn Greenwald responsible for helping to tell the story about the documentary. Glenn Greenwald conducting an interview that went viral in Hong Kong with Edward Snowden. And we talked about how Peter King was saying we should be prosecuting any journalists who leak information or publish information after it has been leaked. Of course, it's completely absurd complete violation of press freedom, and that's not the way we do things in this country. David Gregory himself on Meet the Press asking Glenn Greenwald, shouldn't you be charged with a crime, maybe? Or why shouldn't you be charged with a crime? And Glenn Greenwald did not like the line of questioning, and I happen to agree with Glenn Greenwald here.
Before you, but I'd like you to hang around. I just want to get Pete Williams in here as well. To the extent that you have aided and abetted Snowden, even in his current movements, why shouldn't you, Mr. Greenwald, be charged with a crime?
I think it's pretty extraordinary that anybody who would call themselves a journalist would publicly muse about whether or not other journalists should be charged with felonies. The assumption in your question, David, is completely without evidence, the idea that I've aided and abetted him in any way. The scandal that arose in Washington before our stories began was about the fact that the Obama administration is trying to criminalize investigative journalism by going through the emails and phone records of AP reporters, accusing a Fox News journalist of the theory that you just embraced, being a co-conspirator with felonies for working with sources. If you want to embrace that theory, it means that every investigative journalist in the United States who works with their sources, who receives classified information, is a criminal. And it's precisely those theories and precisely that climate that has become so menacing in the United States. Is why the New Yorker's Jane Mayer said investigative reporting has come to a standstill, her word, as a result of the theories that you just referenced.
Well, the question of who's a journalist may be up to a debate with regard to what you're doing. And of course, anybody who's watching this...
Listen to David Gregory. I mean, even if you don't agree with the release of these documents, David Gregory positioning Glenn Greenwald here as a criminal who has aided and abetted, to me, is disgraceful. And you know what it reminds me of, guys? It reminds me of when Wolf Blitzer went to air on CNN relating to the WikiLeaks Bradley Manning document disclosures. And he was visibly angry. And Glenn Greenwald actually described this. I believe it was last year at either Netroots Nation or maybe it was the year before at the Free Press Conference in Boston. I don't remember where it was. Said, how is Wolf Blitzer, a guy who is presumably a journalist and investigates and divulges information and does research, why is he so visibly angry that an organization has released these documents? He seems angry that he knows all of this stuff that the government was hiding from organizations like CNN. I think it's disgraceful.
All right, so the David Peckham clip's pretty interesting.
I wouldn't call it disgraceful. He doesn't
but
seem
this next clip is
your
boy Shayla LaBeouf. Shayla LaBeouf.
Have expressed.
Yeah, your little boy from the Chinformers there, whatever. Did you get to see the movie GoldenEye? Because I did not get to see that movie.
In my opinion, just kind of preface the question.
Eagle Eye, GoldenEye. I think it was Eagle Eye. I don't know if I did not get to see the movie, but I am going to watch it on Netflix. Maybe that's the next movie that we have to watch.
However,
yeah, boys, in it. It's an older movie. It's probably from the early 2000s or so. Now I'm just fucking it up because I don't know. Maybe you should be looking at the Book of Knowledge or something. But
I remember we had an FBI consultant on the picture telling me that they can use your ADT security box microphone to get your stuff that's going on in your house, or OnStar, they can shut your car down. And he told me that 1 in 5 phone calls that you make are recorded and logged. And I laughed at him, and then he played back a phone conversation I'd had 2 years prior to joining the picture, the FBI consultant. And it was like one of those phone calls, was like, you know, what are you wearing type of things. Really? Yeah, so it was mad weird.
Wait, so you mean they had a record of you from
2 years prior to me joining the picture?
Even being associated with the movie?
With the movie.
Well, that seems creepy.
It's extremely creepy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing. I'm trying to think of what the last 4 phone calls are.
He died in a car crash in L.A. yesterday, and tonight some of his friends say Hastings believed he was being watched by the FBI. KCAL 9's Brittany Hopper is live in Culver City with the story. Brittany?
Sharon, this is the area where some of Hastings' friends work, and they tell me that he was very nervous, thinking that the FBI was watching his every move.
His car did some crazy shit.
WikiLeaks sent out a message to their millions of followers suggesting award-winning journalist 33-year-old Michael Hastings
brings up this aspect,
being watched
but I'm
by
going to
the
tie it in
government.
because it brings
A
up a
tweet
more
sent
important
out today
aspect
by
about
WikiLeaks
how
says
whips can
Michael
be broken
Hastings
into and be
contacted
hacked and no one ever
WikiLeaks
thinks
lawyer
about
just a
other
few hours
electronics
before he
your
died,
computers
saying
and
the
everything.
FBI was
That's
investigating
electronically hacked
him.
into,
Hastings'
and
good friend and fellow journalist Jake Uber talks to us about WikiLeaks' message.
Michael Hastings was a journalist who definitely gave the government trouble, the Pentagon trouble, so if they were surveilling him, it wouldn't be that surprising.
A freelance photographer who captured
Michael Hastings is firing back at the New York Times after the paper published an obituary that left a sour taste in readers' mouths.
It almost seems like anytime someone comes out and says something that goes against the mainstream narrative, they're exiled as some sort of a heretic. And I don't see that really changing, do you?
Now, this is Hastings himself right before he died. Listen to this, it's kind of crazy.
Back in the day, if you did something like this, I would have been hammered and buried. But now there's enough other outlets out where you can actually, who will defend you, who will put you on TV, who will put you on the radio show, who will support you on Twitter, Facebook, other social media. So there is, I think, this opportunity for this sort of golden age to kind of resist against this. But it's an uphill battle. You know, I mean, the lesson, the reason why the response was so severe in my case, or in a case like WikiLeaks with Bradley Manning and Julian Assange, is because they want to set an example. They want to show, oh no, you can't do this. You can't actually report what powerful people say.
Oh no, you didn't.
You can't try to write as accurately and as truthful as possible about these people, because if you do, you will be exiled. But that's no longer the case. And in fact, what I've tried to do and show with this book is, look, yeah, I'm still alive. I'm still standing. They haven't put a drone strike out on me yet. I'm not in Gitmo. You know, I still get invited to pretty cool parties occasionally.
I mean, he probably got drunk and crashed being an asshole, because like I always say, sometimes we don't take enough ownership on our own faults. You know,
can do
it.
You know, you can do it. And the reason I know that is because other journalists Neil
this is pretty interesting, that's all I gotta say, but listen to this and how things be hacked. Now this is a government agency.
To those in power.
And listen to what they say, because that's science, right?
Science. Traditional computers that we need to worry about. Shut up already. This is science. Science.
The slide that's been omitted
showed
the results of the researchers at UCSD and the University of Washington hacking into the dashboard display of a typical American sedan, making it show that the car was going 140 miles an hour while in park. Drilling down a little bit, modern vehicles consist of between 30 and 100 embedded control units, which are essentially small.
No, it's crazy talk!
These cars are required by law to have a diagnostic port, typically located under the steering wheel, that allows mechanics to download diagnostic information and to perform software updates. In a first paper, the researchers from UCSD and the University of Washington showed that if they could touch the CAN bus through that diagnostic port, they could take over all of the functionality of the car that's controlled by software.
Science!
And in a modern automobile, that's pretty much everything. The brakes are controlled by software because of anti-lock braking. The acceleration is controlled by software because of cruise control. And in those fancy new cars that can park themselves, even the steering is under software control.
Those shits are dope, right?
The reaction to this first paper was somewhat muted, perhaps because of the researchers had access to that diagnostic port. They were inside the car, and so already had physical access to the brakes, acceleration, and steering. They responded with a second paper in which they showed a variety of ways of touching that CAN bus without physically touching the car. These attacks involved infecting the computers in the repair shop, and then having that infection spread to the car through the diagnostic port. Hacking in through the Bluetooth system, or using the cell phone network to break in through the telematics
like
unit
I said, a
that's
lot of
normally
the
used to
time,
provide roadside assistance.
we allow them
Most
to have their
ingenious
power,
attack, though,
and
used the
we fuck
stereo
ourselves
system in
up.
the car.
But
The researchers were able to craft an electronic version of a song that played just fine in your home stereo system or on your personal computer. But when you put that on a CD and played it in the car CD player, it took over.
We have vehicle-to-vehicle communications for things like crash avoidance.
Pretty scary, huh?
The final category that we considered was long-range wireless communication, where here we're considering attackers who are able to send signals over miles or even at a global scale. So we have a bunch of digital radio signals like HD radio or satellite radio that can transmit over a number of miles. And telematics units are becoming common in basically every manufacturer.
Like how much you're going to
roadside assistance. So now I'm going to talk about several of these that we attacks. In particular, we were able to compromise Bluetooth and cellular. And to be clear, every single one of these that we looked at led to a complete car compromise, doing everything that we showed in the previous work, including doing things like disabling the brakes. So I'm
I said Crippy and Tone's gonna
fight. Like, comment, and share, Golden Universe. Love you.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
We out.
About potentially critical infrastructure that could be compromised. There were a handful of yokels up in New York